So here's the thing. Today was Fyter Fest. That's right, Fyter Fest. A swipe at the old Fyre Fest debacle, which they didn't let us forget for the, I guess, pre-show, whatever the fuck that was.
Pre-show, apparently.
I'm going to just start off saying that I was not a fan of that humor in the first hour. It was not funny. You know what I'm saying? At all. All the humor fell flat, really, in the pre-show.
I'm not gonna lie. When we were watching it, because I thought it was a regular show. We didn't know it was a pre-show type thing. I was like, "Ooh, this went downhill quick, didn't it?"
Yeah. So here's the thing: Fyter Fest is the second official big event for AEW, and after a tightly produced first outing, which impressed, this pre-show, which again we stress, weren't aware it was a pre-show because we came in late to watch it. We're like, "Is this a show already proper?" I guess it is, right? We were like, "Oh, wow, this is bad."
This is bad.
The humor was the first thing that took me off guard. I was like, this is atrocious, man. And look, with the Young Bucks and shit, we're used to like, kind of stupid off-color humor that sucks. But this was bad. Nothing was funny about it. I was like, man, this is bad, man. And first of all, Fyre Fest, dude, this shit's over. Like, don't reference something that sucked to begin with.
I mean, I know it was announced a while back, but even then it was already an old reference.
Yeah, this shit's dead in the water, the reference. So the humor was also dead in the water.
Yeah.
Nothing landed to the humor, but that wasn't the only humor that didn't land. There was other shit that didn't land humor-wise. We'll talk about that. The first match wasn't that bad, and that was, in my opinion, that was SCU versus the Best Friends versus Private Party, which I'd never seen before, and pretty good, I'd say. It was a decent start. These guys put on a good show. Definitely a lot of impressive spots. Enjoyable, good start. Just the humor threw me off guard, but this one was like, all right, cool, man. This is a decent little start.
Yeah.
Then once all was over, the Best Friends won. Once all was over, it goes dark for like 10 years.
10 hours, dude.
Yeah, dude, you gotta get this timing on these going pitch dark sequences, right? Because that's WWE times 10. The amount of darkness, length that was going on. But anyway, then the Dark Order shows up on the screen. Now, if you don't know who that is, I don't blame you, because the first time they came out, nobody knew who the fuck they were. All they knew is that they had a fucking man throne to sit on.
Yeah, which is kind of gay now to think about it.
Yeah, it's pretty gay. So they come out and say some menacing words towards the Best Friends, and the lights go out again, and you're like, dude, this thing's... Clearly they're surrounding the ring. We've already seen the minions surround the ring.
Speed that up.
10 years later, the lights come back on. The minions are on the ring looking unsure as fuck about what to do for about 10 decades. And then the lights go out again for another 70 years, man. You're like, dude, what the fuck, man? So anyway, 60 generations later, we move on to the next match. Dude,
it was pretty unimpressive.
That was got to be one of the worst endings to anything ever.
It was sucky. I get what they were doing, but woo.
Yeah, the Dark Order thing's already kind of like questionable, because I don't know. Look, like, I watch indie wrestling not ravenously. I watch indie wrestling like way after the events happen.
Yeah.
And I usually just follow certain wrestlers. That's it, right? So I didn't know who the Dark Order was. But as it turns out, a lot of fucking people don't know who the Dark Order was, and they're booking them like everybody should know who the Dark Order is, when nobody fucking knows who the fucking Dark Order is. But anyway.
And even then it could work if they were menacing, but these
or the
8 hours.
Yeah, the timing, dude. What the fuck? So anyway, it was a good match, or decent match, with that weird thing that just didn't work at the end.
Yeah.
But I will take that over the next match any fucking day of the week.
What was the next one?
It was Allie, a.k.a. chick with a weird-ass face. Look, I've seen Allie work before. She's a really good wrestler. But she does have a weird face. But that's not the problem.
This was terrible.
That's not the problem. The problem was Leva Bates, which likewise I've seen work before. And this librarian gimmick they got her doing, or she's doing. Actually, they don't have her doing it, but she's doing with Peter, what's his face? I forgot his name. It was terrible.
It's bad.
It was terrible. Nothing was hitting about it. The crowd was like not picking up on any, and rightfully so. There was nothing to pick up on this other than that sucks. In fact, somebody audibly said, your gimmick sucks. And it's bad. It was bad. Nothing was funny about it. Nothing was hitting. Nothing was nothing, man. Nothing was causing a reaction that was proper. It's annoying.
And again, they had like this little promo before the match,
which was atrocious. The shushing thing. Is it supposed to be like an IRS thing? You know what I'm saying? A la WWE. If it is, it sucks. Just bad. Just a bad gimmick. A horrid, atrocious gimmick that wasn't hitting at all. And when Ali comes out, you're like, okay, this is a weird version. I mean, not a weird version of her, but like, okay, this is the version we're getting. Fine. And then the match starts, and that stinks to high heaven.
Super slow, super botchy.
Yes.
Sloppy as hell.
Yes. Nothing impressive about it. Just, I don't know, man. Nothing about that fucking match was good. It was atrocious.
It was horrendous. After it ended, I was like, that was a thing I saw.
Yes, that's really the reaction that it fucking garnered. That was a thing that I saw, and I don't know why I saw it.
Yeah.
A horrid match from everybody.
Again, we're still under the impressions this was the main show, so we're like, woo.
Yeah, even though when we later found out that this was the pre-show, there's no excuse for a match like this. This is bad. This was a horrendous match. This was like I can't even call it indie level. This was like amateur fucking level. You know,
it's like if you and me got in the freaking
it's like if we did a match, it would suck.
And hot butt pants.
Leva Bates looking hot though.
Yeah, I would hit it.
Ali's face always throws me off guard, but I'd hit it, of course.
Yeah.
It's just nothing in this match worked at all.
There was a part with a book towards the end. It was horrendous.
I'm glad you brought it up because the finisher, Ali wins, by the way, but the finisher had to do with his book. You know, a book is thrown at Ali and she throws it at Leva Bates, but the timing was so off that you're just like, what are they doing with this book?
It didn't make any sense.
You knew what they were doing, but you were still questioning what the fuck with this book, and then that leads to Leva Bates losing because of the confusion that stemmed from the fucking book being it was terrible, dude. This was bad. This was a horrid match. But anyway, next up was Alex Jabali, who is the CEO of CEO, I guess.
I guess.
Versus Michael Nakazawa. Look, this was a gimmick match. This was a stupid comedy match. The whole thing being centered around the fact that Jabali is not a wrestler. Mm-hmm. I gotta say, for somebody that's not a wrestler, he was entertaining to watch.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe he got a little too over an actual wrestler at times. Mike Nakazawa ended up winning with what's got to be the worst reversal of all time. Just like how do you win with it was fucking atrocious. But you can't really judge a match like this because it's gonna be bad.
Yeah.
You know, and they're kind of banking on it being kind of bad too.
I'll say this though, it was mild. It was amusing.
It was amusing. Yeah. There was some funny spots, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess anything after that Ali Leva Bates match.
Yeah, maybe that's why
was forgivable. Maybe this should have opened the pre-show, you know. But whatever, it was fun, I guess. Nothing to write home about.
It was like the only comedy thing that was mildly amusing in that opening.
And you can forgive the guy because he's not a wrestler. Whereas Ali and Leva Bates are wrestlers, and we've seen them work before. What the fuck was that shit that they produced? Anyway, whatever. This is at the point we found out that this was the pre-show.
And we were like, oh, good.
Yeah, we were like, oh, good. But then at the same time, I was doubting the whole endeavor because what the fuck? How would that even make the cut? But anyway, the first thing in the pre-show was SCU's Christopher Daniels versus Shima from the Strong Hearts. All I got to say about this match, it was fine. Mm-hmm. It wasn't impressive. It wasn't atrocious. It was fine.
It was serviceable. It was okay.
It was if anything, it was forgettable, but not in the bad way.
Yeah.
It was just a fine match. That's it. I will say that JR did call a Shima move Oriental.
Yeah.
Which, look, dude, it's not the proper nomenclature anymore.
He said something about, like, you usually see these Oriental moves, and we're like, oh man, Oriental moves.
It's maybe not the proper term anymore. Yeah. I realize there's nothing offensive about the term, but apparently some people find it offensive.
Yeah.
Whatever. JR is 100, so we can forgive him that.
True. At least he didn't freaking name drop Nutmeg.
The old Nutmeg name drops. Shima ended up winning with a pretty sick-looking Meteora, but nothing really special about the match other than it was fine. Next up was Riho versus Yuka Sakazaki versus Nyla Rose, a.k.a. the controversial Nyla Rose, a.k.a. she's a tranny, guys, in case you didn't figure that out already. A.k.a. really noticed this time because her face.
Yeah.
Again, we covered the controversy about that in the previous thing. No controversy for us because this is wrestling. It's fixed. Yeah. It's a work. So no problem with technically a biological male going up against females. The whole thing was driven with Nyla Rose being this powerhouse and these two girls having to go against each other.
Yeah.
So it was a decent story being told, I think. I gotta say that at first the match was a little, botchy, a little loose. I was definitely thinking this is not as good as her last match. But it picked up towards the end. It got really good towards the end when Nyla was really being pushed as this monster heel. And these girls had to do, put together an attack. So by the end, it won me over, despite kind of being dubious at first. It ended up with kind of like a Riho stealing a win over Nyla. And what'd you think of the match?
I liked it. It was pretty fun. At first it was kind of... I don't know if we were just kind of iffy still about the thing, but it was a little off at first.
No, it was a little off.
Right?
Yeah, it wasn't as good as the previous match, and there was a lot of botches going on. Nothing really interesting happening, but it did pick up towards the end.
Yeah, it got pretty entertaining, and then ultimately I enjoyed it quite a bit. I liked it.
After all was said and done, Nyla ended up attacking the other two heel style, and Riho ended up betraying Yuka. So leaving her there looking like a sad child.
Who is the saddest person
I wanted to pet her.
Yeah.
Overall interesting by the end.
Yeah.
If a little fucking messy to begin with. Next up was the glorious MJF, who's just a great heel. He just knows how to cut promos really well. Get proper heat, not stupid "you stink" style heat.
Yeah.
Versus Jungle Boy versus Jimmy Havoc versus Hangman Page, or as you like to call him, the horse guy, apparently. But anyway, this was all to determine whether Page would continue forward to face Jericho. MJF cut a pretty cool promo at the beginning, so that was interesting. I gotta say, the star of the show ended up being, or this particular match ended up being Jungle Boy. I think maybe the crowd agreed with that. I don't know if you agree with that, but he definitely stood out the most for me. Jimmy Havoc ended up being pretty fucking useless in the match.
Yeah, pretty much.
So anyway, but Paige ended up retaining. It was an entertaining match. Again, nothing special, just entertaining.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. I liked, like you said, the Jungle Fellow was pretty good. He came in on his little dinosaur guy, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Ultimately I was kind of like, Jimmy Havoc's a guy.
Yeah, that was a kind of a useless addition, really. He was just there, hardly in the match, really. Anyway, the next match was Darby Allin, who, is kind of like this indie darling that rose fucking fast through the indies. In fact, it wasn't so long ago that I was seeing something about him and his rise, and then all of a sudden he's in AEW. Versus Cody. Here's the fucking thing. This match had winner written on it from the get-go.
Yeah.
Was it a winner? No. I think this was a fucking stinker, and I don't know if you'll agree with me on that or not.
I don't know. Obviously, we don't know the reaction. We literally just finished watching this, but I have a feeling people are going to be sucking this thing's weenie off. Hopefully not, because this was a boring match.
It was atrocious. Look, Darby Allin is known for, kind of his rough style, going out there doing things that most people won't. But holy shit, did he not do anything in this match? Cody was pretty much dominating, and that's fine because the narrative they were pushing was that Darby Allin can put up with anything, except that it was fucking boring. Nothing was happening, man. And
it went the whole freaking time too.
It was the whole time. They ran the clock, and it ended with a draw, with Cody coming in for that last 3 count and not making it as the clock runs out. So in the end, it was just like, wow, nothing happened. Darby Allin didn't have a chance to really impress. He got in a few spots, but that's it. We already know Cody's good, but he didn't do anything good or memorable in it. So aside from one or two memorable spots, and I say memorable because in comparison to everything else, they were memorable. This thing was just like a showstopper in the worst way. It stopped the show like dead. It was
kind of like Cody Rhodes walking around for a long time.
Yeah.
And the other dude just being on the floor.
Yeah.
And that was the match.
Here's the worst part. The commentary was telling you the story. Not the story, but, well, yeah, kind of the story. They were telling you more. They were selling Darby Allin more than he was.
Yeah.
Which is bad. I don't want the fucking commentary to tell me why this guy's cool.
Yeah.
I want to see why the guy's cool. Nothing there to indicate that he's cool. The horrid match. What saved this match was that after all was said and done, or not really said and done because it was a draw, Shawn Spears, a.k.a. the former Perfect 10 himself, comes out and gives a chair shot.
Yeah, Cher was there. She's like,
to Cody. And I don't know if this was intentional or not, but that chair shot was pretty harsh. And it split Cody's head open. There was blood all over the place. Again, I don't know if that was intentional or not. They kept on showing the chair shot, and it looked pretty fucking rough. It looked like the lip of the chair hit his head instead of the actual seat proper. So, again, could be a work, could not. I don't think it was. But if it wasn't, they also worked it pretty well as to where, you know, it'll contribute to a story there. I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure whether, and that's good. Whether they blur the line between reality and a work, that's a good thing. Yeah. I'm not a big fan of these fucks getting hit in the fucking head still, especially if it's going to result in something like that. But it was very interesting. And then the reaction that caused was a bunch of people from the locker room, including people that are on opposite ends of the spectrum as far as face and heel goes. You know, people from SCU and MJF himself came out to assist Cody, which again led to the credibility of what was going on. Again, don't know if that's a work or not, but good.
Yeah, that was the only thing that would save this segment. And then it was kind of unfortunate because once that happened, you know, the other guy just disappeared.
Yeah.
You're like, that's a good debut.
Yeah.
I mean, I get what they're going for, you know, like he went the freaking distance and he didn't lose or whatever, but it was just lame.
Yeah, that's the problem. Once this finisher happened, all you could think about was Cody Rhodes' head.
Yeah.
You didn't even think about, you sure as hell didn't think about Darby Allin anymore. No. So, yeah, bad debut, because who? And you didn't even think about Shawn Spears, because this fucking head was split open. So, yeah, man. And when Shawn Spears left, he looked confused. Like, did I do that? I don't know, man. It was weird, but it was that. Yeah, like you said, the saving grace of this match happening. Next up was Lucha Bros and the Laredo Kid debuting here versus the Elite, aka Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. Now there was this storyline about Kenny Omega, having to, it was tied into the whole fucking Firefest thing with he had to find a way to get them new costumes. So it just led to this intro that was Street Fighter related, and again we had that long fucking blackout that took forever, and then when it comes back, you're supposed to be like, cool, he's Akuma, Kenny Omega, but man, it took forever. Dude,
it was definitely like an entrance that was cooler in paper than in practice.
Yeah.
When it happened, I was like, that was the thing I saw.
Yeah.
I do like the rip-off Kenny Omega. It looked like shit, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, that blackout.
Yeah, the blackout, man. Like, dude, you gotta
time that shit better.
Hide somebody closer or something, cause shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it took forever. So by the time the lights came back on, like, all right.
It's not impressive. You
cool.
just took your sweet time to get out there.
Yeah. I mean, I can't even say it looked cool, but they're going for cheese anyway, so fine.
Yeah.
But that blackout. Anyway, look, I'm going to cut it to you straight here. This was not a good match. It had nice spots. Yeah. It had cool spots. But the match was a fucking mess. It was, if you look at it just as a match, it was terrible. It just had nice spots, which made it stand out. You know what I'm saying? One of our reviewers, Marcus, points out that he's not big on the Young Bucks, calls them flippy shit. This is an example of flippy shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm not in the school of thought that the Young Bucks suck because of flippy shit. Don't get me wrong. This, however, was flippy shit. Like, everybody's doing this cool-ass spot. Sometimes not so cool. There was a lot of botches. But the intention was cool. But the story being told through the match, it was none. It just felt haphazard and loose and then kind of all over the place.
There's definitely, like... I mean, they said, like, oh, the referee, he's using his little judgment or whatever. But they just kind of forgot rules at times. Like, there's entire segments where everybody's in the ring and you're kind of like, is this supposed to be like a tag team thing?
Yeah.
And it's not like for like one or two moves. It's like the majority of the match. Yeah. It's just kind of like people all in the ring and doing stuff. I think some stuff was cool.
I think, and don't get me wrong, this is not bad to the level of WWE style, but this was a match you could see the end coming a mile away. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, okay, the Bucks are going to win, obviously, which is bad, given that the match is really just a bunch of kind of impressive spots cobbled together, thrown together. That's it. Good debut for the Laredo Kid. He did have some impressive things to show out there, at least as far as debut here. So that's cool. But yeah,
it was alright.
It was fine, I guess. That was technically the final match, but the actual final match was unsanctioned, which really meant no rules, no DQs, no nothing, Nathan, and that was Jon Moxley's, the former Dean Ambrose debut here on AEW, match style against Joey Janela, looking like straight up Giovanni Ribisi.
God damn, your
and Jay from Jay and Silent Bob having a baby. Anyway, they had a match. It wasn't sanctioned, and that was a thing. I guess if you had to have one reason to watch this show, it would be for this match, and it's not necessarily because it was a good match. It's because of the spectacle of seeing an actual hardcore match on a big scale or on a big show again. Now, some people say, well, like New Japan, but New Japan doesn't, it hasn't captured the imagination of the American public like AEW has, and doesn't have that huge money and push behind it. This does. This would be on the scale of like a small event for WWE. And then they're doing all the social media stuff and all that crap. So here we have an actual hardcore match, which we haven't had one of those in over a decade in WWE. So if anything, to see the spectacle of that again, that would be the reason to watch this show. The match proper itself, was it great? No. Was it bad? No. Was it entertaining? Yes. There was some sick spots, but I think for the most part, they kind of... I wouldn't say they fucked up the spots.
I was going to say, like, they set up all these, like, potentially painful spots, but it seems like almost always they just missed.
Yeah.
Like, they were just off too much to the side.
The only ones that were, like, on point were, like, the table spots.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't really miss a fucking table once you're on the damn thing or you're hurtling towards it. But, yeah, like, almost every other spot, the barbed wire spots, whatever, it'd be like they glint off the board or the fucking chair with barbed wire glints off of him, or it doesn't really cause any damage except a few scratches or whatever. The thumbtacks, Joey Janela was supposed to get the brunt of that, and his feet got fucked up. Took a few tries, but his feet got fucked up. But other than that, you didn't really see much damage on the guy. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure it hurt, and he got some damage. You didn't see it.
I'll say this. You could see what they were going for. Like the spot where he drops him on his feet, you could see that they were going for, like, the whole foot was covered.
Right.
But it was just kind of, like, right here.
Yeah.
And then, like, the spot where he falls into the Dean Ambrose falls into the barbed wire. Like, I see what they're doing, but you just kind of missed.
Yeah.
So it's a little disappointing, even though at the same time you're kind of like, I don't know if I should be cheering these dudes getting destroyed.
Yeah.
But you see what they're going for. It was a little bit off.
And like you said, it seemed that almost every spot was just a wee bit off to make it impressive. So again, applaud the intention, sort of, but at the same time, you're like, damn, well, they kind of missed it, didn't they?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you take the good with the bad. It ended with Jon Moxley giving a DDT into the tax to Joey Janela, and he was out. However, Jon Moxley ended up getting the worst end of that as his entire back. This is the one time you see some real damage here. His entire back was riddled with fucking tacks.
And cola.
So the winner ends up getting the worst. And that's at the ass end of it.
Yeah.
But entertaining at the very least, the match. After all was said and done, and then Moxley was coming out, hobbling out. Kenny Omega came out for some retribution from, Moxley's attack on him. And, he kind of ran roughshod on him. And that was probably more intense than the other ones. Because there was some other attack spots and whatever. And that was your show right there. I don't know, man. This was fucking rocky.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? This was a rocky motherfucking show, man. Don't get me wrong. Way better than the WWE shows have been lately, of course, and have been for a while. But that's not to say it was well produced or carried out, I should say. There was a lot of botching, production-wise.
Yeah, there was. It's kind of the same thing we saw in Double or Nothing, where the camera people don't catch certain things, and they just cut away at the wrong times.
Yeah. Cameramen falling over constantly for some fucking reason. Just a lot of production trouble in this one. It was definitely not as tightly done as the previous. And I mean, not to say that one was a gleaming example, but it was very watchable.
More noticeable, yeah.
Yeah, this one was like, what the fuck? And and then in terms of the matches, the match quality wasn't great, I guess is the best way to put it. Nobody was really putting out their best efforts, and if they were, it didn't work out that well. Though the matches were mostly entertaining.
Yeah, I'll say this: once the show itself actually started, I wasn't bored. I had fun through it.
That's more than you can say for a WWE show.
Yeah,
which often elicits boredom nowadays. But yeah, at the very least that.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's give this final thoughts.
It's also worthy to note that this was a free show.
Yeah.
It wasn't
but even then,
anything.
the free show thing it's an angle, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a way to get viewers in. We're giving you this free so you could get a taste of what's to come. And this is the taste you give them.
I'm just saying,
it's not great.
It's not like with Double or Nothing they had to pay $50 for this shit's free. So
yeah, if this was a pay to watch pay-per-view event, this would have been very disappointing. But at the same time, it's disappointing that this is the free taste they're giving people.
Yeah, that's
like, come to my restaurant here, try our steaks, except this one's made out of fucking feces. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
This one smells a little weird.
So we know that hardcore wrestling fans are not going to be turned away by this, obviously. But some people that might have been interested and saw this particular one would be like, that went great.
Yeah.
It felt like amateur hour with people that can do way better, which is weird. But anyway, final thoughts and final score on a scale of 1 to 10.
It was fine through most of it. The Cody Rhodes match was a bore fest, and the pre-show was garbage. I really hope they didn't show that on TNT, because that would be bad.
Yeah.
But the actual show itself was pretty fun with those exceptions. I kind of liked the final match, even though it was not great. Everything was just a little off. And I do think that final match was kind of a good wrap up of the whole event. Everything was just a little bit off.
Yeah.
It wasn't horrid. It was fun. Whatever. I'll give it like a fine 6. You know what? A 5. Middle ground.
Mm-hmm. I think in the end, if we include the pre-show, this would get a
0.
fucking bad score, a really bad score. And we kind of have to, because the pre-show brought it to a normal length.
Yeah.
But ultimately there was a lot of matches that just didn't gel in the end, or didn't feel like much had really worked or progressed. I can't even call one match great in this entire event. The spectacle of seeing a hardcore match was interesting again, but it wasn't a great hardcore match. So that stinks. I'm a big Lucha Bros fan, as are you. That wasn't great.
No.
When your favorite characters can't even entertain you, or no, they were entertaining, but when they can't, capture your imagination, then that's kind of a weird issue, isn't it? That pre-show was a stinker.
Rhodes.
This is rough, man. I gotta give it like a fucking 3. It was not good. Now, compared to WWE, I'll give it like a 6. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, this was a bad second outing, period. This was a bad. I'm choking on my own fucking spit second outing. So let's hope for better the next time. We know they can. I mean, they did it before. So let's just hope for better. Definitely didn't discourage us from seeing more. But that's a thing.
Yeah, I wasn't bored. And that's more than I can say for anything else.
Yeah. So let us know what you thought about this particular event. In the meantime, hit like, share, subscribe, and those notification buttons. Final message I got to say, by the way. Look, you're not always going to agree with us. All right? And, that's it. This is our opinions. You don't have to agree with us.
Yeah.
We want to hear what your opinions are.
We're literally taping this right after, so we don't know anybody else's opinions. Not that would matter.
Would matter, yeah. So I know that a lot of people take entertainment to heart, but all this is to us is entertainment. So it's not going to stop it, and we're not asking for it to be stopped. But it's pretty silly when you're like, oh, I like to see you guys do it.
Yeah.
We can't do it. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is we are rooting for this. We're rooting for wrestling to get better because it's not in a good state right now.
It would be foolish if we had seen this event and been like, this was amazing.
Yes.
Because then that would just kind of be freaking lying to ourselves.
Yes, it would be. And all we're aiming here for is just to give honest opinions. And look, we have every inclination to say WWE sucks because it's killing me right now, man. Watching WWE is murder.
I had to stop, man.
So I have every reason to say this was the best event ever, but it just was not. It was not, and I hope the next one is, because the previous one was great. So let's cross our fingers and hope it gets better. And anyway, let us know what you think. We do appreciate whatever your opinion is.
Yeah, and we know we're fat, so.
Yeah, we know we're fat.
I know y'all are creative out there, but we know we're fat.
Yeah, know we're fat. It's cool. If you really do have a difference of opinion, then just voice it. We respect your difference of opinion. That's what we're getting at.
Yeah.
We respect your. We're not here to deride your opinion. We're here to present ours, and if you got a different one, then let us know, and that's cool. And we'll respect that and discuss it if it needs discussion. Anyway, we're out, because, that's the thing that we do at the end of videos.
It's the thing we saw.